Welcome back to CNN's election coverage. There are scenes of demonstration and some chaos in downtown Albuquerque this evening, where Donald Trump spoke earlier, and a number of anti-Trump protesters gathered, threw rocks and other objects at police. Let's go to Jim Acosta, who is in the vicinity of the chaos. Jim, what is going on exactly right now?
Jake, we're standing out in front of the convention center where Donald Trump wrapped up that rally about an hour or so ago, and it is basically status quo. You have a number of Albuquerque police officers, some in riot gear, with barricades in front of these protesters. Some of the protesters are holding their hands up in sort of that hands up, don't shoot pose periodically. You do see some burned Trump signs that were lit on fire when things were really sort of getting out of control earlier this evening. Some fire extinguishers scattered around in the road in front of the convention center, just to give you a sign of, you know, how they were putting out small fires here and there outside this convention center. But it looks like, in terms of where there was that little bit of chaos, as you mentioned, Jake, outside this convention center, while the Donald Trump rally was going on, it appears that has been taken care of, that Albuquerque police have that under control. But there are still protesters. There are still demonstrators stationed in front of this convention center with their signs up, with these messages basically saying to Donald Trump, your message on immigration is not welcome here. By and large, every protester we've come across during this rally inside the convention center and outside the convention center, they have had basically nothing but negative things to say about Donald Trump's immigration rhetoric. That has been the hallmark of what has happened here in Albuquerque, no question about it. And, you know, covering these elections every 4 years, Jake, as you know, this is not supposed to be what our democracy is all about. We're not supposed to see officers in riot gear and gas masks and protesters squaring off with one another outside of political rallies. That's what we have here in Albuquerque tonight, Jake.
I want to roll some tape from just a few minutes ago. There we see some protesters walking on and jumping on police cars, some applauding there, and then running down the street as the police presumably started pursuing them for that act. And there goes the rest of that tape. As you see on the screen, dozens of anti-Trump protesters, some of them, though by no means most of them, acting in a violent way. Police have come into the scene and seem to be dispersing with the crowd, using, you know, batons, police cars, police horses, protesters running away, many of them waving Mexican flags. Let's talk about some of the images that we're seeing here. But I also want to talk, if I can, about something that Donald Trump said earlier today. Well, actually, Dan Simon is out there. Hold on one second, Jeffrey Lord. Dan Simon, you're outside there in Albuquerque on the scene. What are you seeing? What's going on?
You can see that police are trying to push these protesters back. You see police in full riot gear right in front of several of these protesters, also police on horseback. As you said just a moment ago, some of them are unruly, a small number at this point, but they are creating a lot of trouble at the moment. Police throughout the evening have showed remarkable restraint as protesters have thrown rocks and bottles at police officers. And obviously they want these folks to go home, but you still have a number of people out here. This is pretty surprising given what we saw earlier today when everything was completely peaceful on the streets of Albuquerque. Right now, though, you do have, I would say, a couple hundred people out here on the street, mainly young people, just observing what's happening as a few of them attempt to taunt the police. That's basically what's going on at the moment. Police doing whatever they can to try to encourage people to go home, but these people seem to want to stay put, Jake.
All right, Dan Simon on the streets of Albuquerque for us. I want to talk about something that Donald Trump said at his rally at the convention center in Albuquerque earlier this evening, something that was interesting. He took a few shots at the governor of New Mexico, which wouldn't necessarily be such a surprise if it were not for the fact that the governor of New Mexico, Susana Martinez, is a Republican. And the fact that he took some shots at her, although she has not endorsed him and has not been supportive of Mr. Trump, certainly caught our attention. Let's play that tape.
Since 2000, the number of people on food stamps in New Mexico has tripled. We have to get your governor to get going. She's got to do a better job, okay? Your governor has got to do a better job. She's not doing the job. Hey! Maybe I'll run for governor of New Mexico. I'll get this place going. She's not doing the job. We got to get her moving. Come on, let's go, governor.
That's some tough stuff for a man who is, at this point, supposed to be uniting the party around him.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say this is astonishing, but nothing with Donald Trump is astonishing. This is a Republican governor, one of the sort of future leading lights of the party until she's gotten into some trouble recently with some personal problems in New Mexico. But she made one comment. She's not on board the Trump train. She has said that she didn't want to go to the rally because she was busy. Of course, that's an excuse because she didn't want to be with Trump. Her state has the highest percentage of Hispanics in the country. New Mexico is 47% Hispanic. Donald Trump wants to kick out of the country 11 million undocumented immigrants. Imagine what that would do in New Mexico. There's quite a few undocumented immigrants there. She's not on board with his policies on immigration and the way that he's talked about Hispanics in this country. And she's basically one of the few remaining Republicans who's in the sort of never Trump camp. And I don't think he liked that, and he hit back. No. he hit back at her. He could have gone there and ignored it, but instead he hit her really hard.
It wasn't a coincidence, let's say. And no, Mark, we should point out, although maybe not this year, but in past years, Susana Martinez her name has been bandied about as a possible vice presidential nominee. You can debate whether or not, if it were a different presidential nominee, she would still be on that list, given some of the problems that were alluded to. But it still is remarkable for Donald Trump to swoop into a state that in the past has been a battleground state and berate the sitting Republican governor.
And let's do a fact check on you, Jake, because had Susana Martinez come out and said, I'm for Donald Trump, then she would have been the best governor ever tonight during his speech. And she would have been at the top of his list. And he would vocally be saying that he's openly vetting her. But he has been very clear that if you are not his ally, then he is your enemy. And if you punch him once, he is going to try to punch you and kick you and knock your teeth out.
Yeah, and I think it begs the question. I mean, if you think of somebody like Susana Martinez, Republican governor, she was a featured speaker at the RNC in 2012.
Former Democrat.
Yeah, former Democrat, gave a speech about why she was a Republican and talked about Republican Party values. And that's what you need if you are the nominee of a party. You can't just have all white guys and all white women on stage. You need a party that's diverse. So I think the question remains as to whether or not Trump is going to be able to get those kind of people out there.
Is she not also the sitting chairwoman of the Republican Governors Association?
That's right, she is.
So he's trying to unify the party. She leads a party organization. He has trouble with women. She's a prominent women politician. He has trouble with Latinos. She and Governor Sandoval, the highest elected Latinos in the land. Perfect.
To be fair, and then we have to take a break. To be fair, it's not like she is uniting around Donald Trump.
Oh, no.
Either. I just want to make that point. We're going to take a very quick break. We'll be right back after this.